Have you ever been given a second chance, a completely fresh start after a great storm in your life, only to find that you and those around you still make new and painful mistakes? Have you ever looked up to a hero, a great man or woman of faith, only to see them fall, and wondered how one moment of weakness can send ripples of damage throughout generations? The story of humanity's first second chance, the world after the Great Flood, holds the answers to these very questions. And we will explore three profound truths within it, with the last one being a hard, but vital lesson about honor, shame, and the future of the world. This is the channel Our Divine Justice, and I am Jesus Christ, the Son of God. We have walked with Noah through the storm and onto the dry land of a new earth. Today, we will witness the first covenant my Father made with all of humanity, see the beautiful promise he placed in the sky, and then face the heartbreaking reality that a cleansed world did not mean a cleansed human heart. If you trust in the perfect justice and the covenant-keeping mercy of my Father, please show your faith by liking this message, and by making sure you are subscribed to His Word. Imagine stepping out of the ark into a world of complete silence. The air was fresh and clean, the earth was washed, but the bustling, violent world that Noah had known was gone. And in this new beginning my Father spoke a blessing over Noah and his sons, a familiar echo of the blessing he gave to Adam in the garden. He said, "Be fruitful and increase in number and fill the earth." It was a command for life to begin again, to flourish in this new world. But things were different now. My Father established a new order between man and the animals. He said, "The fear and dread of you will fall on all the beasts of the earth, and on all the birds in the sky." The easy harmony of Eden was a distant memory. And He gave a new provision. He said, "Everything that lives and moves about will be food for you. Just as I gave you the green plants, I now give you everything." But with this new provision came a new and solemn rule. He said, "But you must not eat meat that has its lifeblood still in it." This was a sacred command. It was to teach humanity that life, which is in the blood, is precious, and belongs to God. It was the first lesson in a long story that would ultimately point to my own blood, which would be shed for the life of the world. And my Father established a new law to protect the crown of His creation, humanity. He said, "And for your lifeblood I will surely demand an accounting. From each human being too. I will demand an accounting for the life of another. Whoever sheds human blood, by humans shall their blood be shed." This was not about revenge. It was about justice, founded on the highest principle. For in the image of God has God made mankind. To harm another human is to deface the very image of the Creator. This was the foundation of order and justice for the new world. Then my Father did something truly beautiful. He established a formal binding promise, a covenant, not just with Noah, but with his sons, with all their descendants after them, and even with every living creature on the earth. He said, "I now establish my covenant with you and with your descendants after you. Never again will all life be destroyed by the waters of a flood. Never again will there be a flood to destroy the earth." This was a promise of grace, a declaration that He would never again deal with the world's sin in such a final, all-encompassing way. He knew the human heart was still bent toward evil, yet He chose to bind Himself with a promise of preservation. And He did not just speak this promise, He gave it a visible and glorious sign. He said, "This is the sign of the covenant I am making between me and you and every living creature with you, a covenant for all generations to come. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth." I want you to see the rainbow as you have never seen it before. In the ancient world, a bow was the weapon of a great warrior, a weapon of judgment. But when a warrior was declaring peace, he would hang his bow up, its string toward him and its beautiful arc facing away. My Father took His war bow of judgment. and he hung it in the clouds, pointed away from the earth, as a perpetual sign of peace and promise. And he said something remarkable. Whenever I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant. The promise is not dependent on your memory or your goodness, but on his. He put the sign in the sky for himself to see, to remind himself of his own unbreakable promise. When you see a rainbow, you are seeing a beautiful picture of my Father's faithfulness, a promise of peace that is as certain as the rising of the sun. The story of this new beginning is bathed in the beautiful light of this promise. Noah and his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, were the fathers of the entire human race that would spread across the world. And Noah, the man of faith, began the work of cultivating this new earth. He became a man of the soil, and he planted a vineyard. This was a good and natural thing, to bring fruit from the earth. But this hero of the faith, this righteous man who had walked with God and survived a global judgment, was still a son of Adam. The flood had washed the world clean of wickedness, but it could not wash the inclination for sin from the human heart. That was carried within the ark. And Noah drank some of the wine from his vineyard, and he became drunk, and he lay uncovered inside his tent. The great patriarch, the savior of humanity, lay in a state of helpless, vulnerable shame. And Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father's nakedness. He saw his father's moment of weakness and shame, and what he did next would set a course for generations. Instead of acting with honor and covering his father, he went outside and told his two brothers with what was likely an air of mockery and disrespect. He saw his father's shame and chose to expose it, rather than cover it. But Shem and Japheth responded in a completely different way. They took a garment, and they laid it across their own shoulders. And they walked into the tent backward, so that they would not see their father's nakedness. With respect, and with honor, they covered their father's shame. In that tent, two paths were laid out for humanity: the path of dishonor, which exposes and mocks the weakness of others, and the path of honor, which respectfully and lovingly covers the shame of others. When Noah awoke from his wine, he knew what his youngest son had done to him, and moved by a prophetic spirit, he spoke words that would echo throughout history, defining the character and the destiny of his son's descendants. He did not curse Ham, who committed the sin, but he cursed Ham's son, Canaan. He said, "Cursed be Canaan. The lowest of slaves will he be to his brothers." This was a prophecy of the future degradation of the Canaanite people, whose wickedness would become infamous in the promised land. Then Noah spoke a blessing, but he did it in a unique way. He said, "Praise be to the Lord, the God of Shem. May Canaan be the slave of Shem." The blessing was not on Shem himself, but on the Lord, whom Shem would serve. This was the line of faith, the line through which my father's redemptive plan would travel, the line that would lead to Abraham, and David, and ultimately, to me. And he said of Japheth, "May God extend Japheth's territory. May Japheth live in the tents of Shem. And may Canaan be his slave." This was a prophecy that Japheth's descendants would be numerous, and that they would one day share in the spiritual blessings of the line of Shem, a prophecy fulfilled as my gospel spread from the Jews to the Gentiles. A single moment of honor and dishonor in a tent had set the course for nations. This is the hard, but vital lesson of Noah's new beginning. That even our greatest heroes are still human and frail, and that our response to the failings of others, especially our parents and leaders, has consequences that can last for generations. The choice is always between covering with honor or exposing with mockery. If this story of God's unbreakable promise and of the sobering reality of human weakness has spoken to you, I invite you to show it by liking this video. It is a story full of lessons that our world needs to hear. And if you wish to learn more of these foundational truths and understand the deep roots of God's plan for humanity, please subscribe to our channel. If you have ever felt the pain caused by another's failing, or if you carry the shame of your own, and you need prayer to learn how to cover with honor, or to receive a covering for your own shame, I invite you to subscribe, and to write in the comments below, "Pray for me." Noah lived for 350 years after the flood. He saw his lineage spread. He saw the world begin again. Altogether, Noah lived a total of 950 years. And then, he died. The great man of faith, the hero of the flood, also came to the end that awaits all the sons of Adam. So, when you think of second chances, remember this story. My Father's grace provides them. And His promises, like the rainbow, are an unbreakable guarantee of His mercy. But a new start does not erase our fallen nature. The greatest heroes can still fall, and a moment's choice between honor and dishonor can shape the future. This is why you needed a better hero. This is why you needed a better savior. The covenant of the rainbow promised that the world would not be destroyed by water again, but my new covenant, sealed in my own blood, promises that your soul can be saved from the final judgment. Noah's shame was covered by a garment by his sons. But your shame, and the shame of all humanity, is covered by my robe of righteousness. I am the fulfillment of the line of Shem, the one who came to bring the ultimate blessing to all who will put their faith in me. I am the one who saw humanity's shame, and I did not mock. I came down, and I covered it forever on the cross.